All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll give it just a moment here till we have confirmation. We have transmission. Looks like we're live here. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the face of this plane, under the firmament, on this day that the Lord has made. May we rejoice and be glad in it, for as we approach another step closer to eternity. This is your host, Joe Imbriano, the Fullerton Informer, coming to you live on this drive time edition on Monday, April 8th, 2024, and today's the day that everyone's been waiting for, right? By the way, my contact information, Joe Imbriano PO Box 2121, Fullerton, California 92834. On the web at FullertonInformer.com, 5GDangers.com, VaxDangers.com, CellTowerDangers.com, and boy, these roads are bad. All right, so today is the day that many people are claiming is some fulfillment of prophecy, or the beginning of the seven seals, or the red heifer in Israel, or the temple is going to get rebuilt, or they're going to, spray some stuff out of the sky over in Texas while everybody's watching the eclipse, folks. Can I tell you something? It's just another day, okay? It's just another day. What I really want to talk to you about, I listen to Coast to Coast for about 10 minutes every night with that George Norrie Chupacabra, circus clown show. Last night he had the Rapture head pastor on there talking about, Israel fulfilling prophecy and all this, geopolitical dispensationalist playbook, as they go into all this hocus pocus, abracadabra stuff on the Bible. Look, ladies and gentlemen, this eclipse is nothing, all right? Stop making it out to be such a big deal. It's not going to be some, prophetic event, all right? Volcanoes erupt, tornadoes touch down, eclipses come and go. What I want to talk to you about, though, is the eclipse, because, I get all of these people that get all far off into the weeds with all this Bible prophecy stuff. And, quite frankly, folks, that is not the focus of anything that I have any interest in, for a variety of reasons, and the least of which are the topic of this show today. But the real issue here is what, NASA's doing to us and what people believe is about to happen. And I have a real hard time believing that the sun is this giant gas ball that's hundreds of millions of miles away, when if you look at the sun through the fog, have you ever seen the fog roll in? Well, in Southern California, there's a time of the year when the fog rolls in, the fall, and sometimes ahead of cold fronts, and it's pretty thick, but it's not thick enough to block the sun, and you can actually see the sun. And the sun is revealed for what it is, folks. It's a lens, it's a disc, okay? And it's the same distance as the moon from us, and it's the same size as the moon. And that's why it covers it perfectly on an eclipse. I mean, everything just defies logic. It's a perfect fit. It's like they're both the same size. One is the greater light, one is the lesser light. And the moon is not reflecting sunlight when it's up in the sky, folks. It's a different color temperature, for crying out loud. Whether the moon is plasma, which I suspect that it is, you can't land on it. Hence, that's why they faked the moon landings. They did a crappy job at faking the moon landings. But folks, I mean, it's like $2 silver, one on top of another. That's why it's a local event, and you can only see it when they're lined up on top of each other. It's like taking a circular disc and putting it on top of a flashlight. It's what it is. It's like unbelievable, folks. And they make it out to be this big, celestial, prophetic event. and they use it to bolster their heliocentric Earth model. How does the water? I couldn't get the water to stay in my head when I get out of the pool this morning. How does the water stay on a spinning ball when my stupid head ain't even turning, right? Oh, what they've done. And I'm on the road a little early today. It's about 7 o'clock in California. And, I'm seeing these children get dragged off to school, right? Get dragged off to the yoke of psychological and intellectual bondage and lies and disinformation and, sleep deprivation and to learn nothing but fraud that fits into all the agendas, folks. Now, why am I making a big deal out of this? Well, because if they lie to you about the shape of the earth, ladies and gentlemen, if they will lie to you about what we're living on, they will lie to you about why we're here, what we're living on, how we got here, and they'll also lie about other continents that exist, about the presence of an unlimited supply of water under the ground, fresh water, I might add, wonderful, healthy, clean water. I mean, you can ask Muammar Gaddafi about, his accessing the primary water in Libya. Of course, that didn't go too well when we started destroying the pipeline company that he had, and I guess the deniers of Jesus Christ decided to slant drill and bring in salt water to ruin the whole thing. But, folks, the bottom line is that there are other continents beyond the ice wall. There are other civilizations on the face of this plane that they're hiding from us. If you understand what the shape of the Earth is, then you'll understand that there are more land masses out there than they've told us. And of course, the United Nations logo is literally a map of the shape of the Earth. And I do believe that the moon is reflective of the Earth, and I believe you could see the Earth and the continents on the moon as a reflection. Okay? Now, I know some of you know about this. Some of you haven't heard about this. Some of you may think that Joe smoked peyote for breakfast and he put magic mushrooms in his coffee. I'm here to tell you, folks, you've been lied to about every single thing there is, okay? Including how you're going to live forever, you're going to have eternal life. They don't want you to believe that. They want you to believe that you came from a rock and a monkey and an alabaster vase with a can of motor oil in it, right? That you evolved. Your sister evolved from a box of rocks and some dirty motor oil. And there's a brand new Lexus on the dark side of the moon that has been formed over the past 25 quadrillion years, and it's got twin turbos, right? Come on. Oh yeah, the tornado goes to the junkyard and makes a 747. Complete with a stewardess and a ribeye steak dinner in the galley, right? Come on. What the heck? And, you circus clowns that are awake right now, brainwashing children in some parts of the country, teaching them that, the Earth's some spinning ball and this force of gravity holds the oceans on, but it can't hold a mosquito. I mean, really? Honestly, folks, wake up! Do you really think water sticks to a spinning ball? So anyway, today's the day you can watch the two discs one cover the other, okay? By the way, the sun's a lens, folks. It's not some burning gas ball. It's hilarious how they show all these pictures of the sun and all of this nonsense Do you realize that about 95% of what you've seen ain't even real on these screens and in these textbooks? It's all lies and propaganda. It's laughable. I have a lot of books at my home. I won't even begin to tell you just the sheer number of books that I own. And, you know, I get them for next to nothing because they get thrown away. And a lot of them are worthless because they're lies. But what's so interesting about these books is when your eyes are open and you can see and you have wisdom and discernment, it's so patently obvious how big and bald-faced the lies are. I mean, a child could recognize the laughability of some of this stuff. But no, folks, today, and by the way, you know, I was listening, I'm hearing all these people getting excited over this red heifer thing. All right? Can I tell you something, ladies and gentlemen? For those of you who are of the Christian persuasion, whether, you know, you're part of this Roman Catholic cult or, you know, a Seventh-day Adventist or the Southern Baptist or the Presbyterian or the Episcopalian or whatever other divisive invention they made up to complicate the gospel of Jesus Christ, I will tell you that what Jesus did on that cross was pretty much summed up by some of his last words on that cross when he said, "It is finished," right? And he prophesied, and by the way, this is like the real prophecy, folks, is that, you know, he prophesied that Jerusalem would be destroyed in 70 AD, the temple would be destroyed, there wouldn't be one stone left upon another. It all came to pass. And, you know, all the Matthew 24 stuff was for the first century converts. And by the way, I'm going to make a statement right now. You might as well listen to me. The book of Revelation was written before 70 AD. And it was written in an allegorical manner so that the first century converts would understand the language and the Roman government and the Roman centurions and the Roman occupational force could not, therefore preserving it. It was a warning to get out of Jerusalem before it fell. It was written to the 7 churches which are, right? For the things must shortly come to pass, for the time is at hand, right? Not 3,000 years later, 2,000 years later, right then and there. This generation will not pass away. Look, forget your Schofield Reference Bible, Dallas Theological Seminary. Pickpocket pimp in the pulpit, including the ones they have on George Norrie, okay? Today is not a big deal. The sun's going to come out after the disk covers it up for a while. And, you know, all the FEMA drills and all this, folks, they just got a bunch of spectators over there, more than they can handle. They don't want a bunch of feces and urine all over the place. The road's all plugged up. The store's overwhelmed. The gas station's overwhelmed because of a panic from all these people trying to get a load of this spectacle. Well, I'll tell you what. If you want to get a load of this spectacle, ladies and gentlemen, then look at it for what it is. One disc is covering another, okay? It's unbelievable. I mean, I was going to do an experiment last night, but the time got away from me. I was going to show you just how ridiculous it is to think that a little teeny moon that's allegedly, you know, this little marble floating around in space. By the way, that you know, we only see it doesn't move. We only see the same part of it all the time. How does it not rotate, but everything else supposedly does? Why? Well, no, it does. They tell us that it just so happens that it rotates at the same rate that keeps it from, so that it keeps it from, it keeps us from seeing the other side of it, because we're always seeing the same side because of its rotation is a speed that such allows for it not to be observed. Folks, they're saying that the moon turns at a rate in literal synchronicity with the rate that we allegedly turn, so we never see the back of it. Oh, what is it? 66,000 miles an hour hurling through space, but the North Star never moves, right? Boy, I know that there are those of you who get in your Teslas and drive to the school district teacher parking lot and plug into the solar panel and tell the children, okay, children, this is a fact, and this is what we need to learn today. And I need you to take all of your common sense and your critical thinking skills and put them in this box right here, because we're going to put this in the back of the room and no one's going to have access to it for the next 40 minutes. And by the way, take out your infertility pads and your Chromebooks and make sure you get really cozy under the Wi-Fi router, because we're going to give you very important information that you need to know for the exam, and you're going to have all the homework tonight to make sure you remember all of this information. Why? Because they want you to believe there is no God, that this thing evolved from the coalescing of matter and magma and amino acids and electrons and lightning bolts in a vacuum over trillions of years, that spun around and formed from the goo to the zoo to you, and now here we are talking about it, right? What a bunch of freaking nonsense. But that's okay. You pumped up your children this morning full of donuts and frosted flakes and dumped them off in a parking lot run by a bunch of secular humanist Marxist perverts so they can get their brain destroyed while you go off to work servicing the debt on the Federal Reserve loan to the U.S. Treasury, right? I don't know, folks. Part of me, I just have to, don't step off that curb, lady. Please, thank you. It's probably a good idea that we have these talks more often than not, because people get so sidetracked. Yesterday I was shopping, looking for various items at a thrift store, as I do on Sunday. Sunday is a day that is a good day to go in there because people dump all their stuff off and the donations are up high, so the new merchandise comes out. But there's a lady I was talking to in there, and she was telling me that how nice the president of Mexico is, and how bad Trump was. I know I'm getting sidetracked here, but it's all part of this this red heifer orange hair thing. Trump is all for the temple and the red heifer and all that. And Trump's all for World War III, so don't kid yourself. But this is how brainwashed these people are. She's from Mexico, so she's a somebody who grew up in that country. And Mexico's a mess, folks, and it's a mess by design. It's a very dangerous place to live. The cartels are out of control. They'll just kill who they wish. They'll kill the police, the alcalde, the mayor. They'll just slaughter anybody that gets in their way. She's telling me how bad Trump was because he wouldn't share the vaccines with Mexico, and how wonderful the Mexican president was because he made sure everyone in Mexico had a vaccine. And then she proceeds to tell me that Biden's doing such a great job. And then I tried explaining to her that, we're being folded into hard communism, and all it's going to take is for the dollar to no longer be pegged to the oil trade and lose its world reserve status completely, and we'll end up just like Venezuela, and we'll have bread lines in the United States. And she's all, that'll never happen in the United States. The United States is such a good place to live. I mean, you think the communists are going to come to this country and take this country over? You're crazy. The United States is never going to have a problem because we're a country of free people, and the communists don't come to this country. Only communist country is Venezuela. She goes, you think this place is going to be like Venezuela? You're crazy. Excuse me, folks, but Venezuela had a vibrant economy, even under communism, because of the oil prices. But, even the conspiracy to deflate those are what led to that demise. But my point is, here's a woman hating on Trump for all the wrong reasons. because, she's mad at Trump because he wouldn't give the vaccines to the Mexican people in Mexico. So she's mad at Trump because he won't give out the vaccines to the Mexican population. She loves Biden because she gets all kinds of free stuff from the guy. And, and then we got, people, they hate Trump for the wrong reasons, love him for the wrong reasons. And by the way, Trump, he's all for this red heifer thing and, the temple and Israel and stuff. But there's a little bit of a real estate problem over there because the Dome of the Rock Mosque happens to be sitting on the spot where they need to build that temple. So, the Muslim world is not going to take lightly to them taking that place apart like an erector set and moving it, like they did the McDonald's down the street from the high school in my neighborhood. They can't just pick the thing up and move it, okay? So, that's a flashpoint. And people are linking this eclipse nonsense to the ushering in of the formation of the new temple. What did Jesus say when he was on that cross? He said it's finished, all right? Now, you have been sold a bill of goods by psychopathic scum in these seminaries if you think it's a good idea for a third temple to be rebuilt, all right? Because let me tell you something right now. Whether or not you think it's necessary for a third temple to be rebuilt in Israel, let me tell you a couple of problems with that. Just at face value, the fact that they're going to have to destroy the mosque that's there is a big enough problem to start a war, a massive war, okay? That's a real estate problem, number one. Number two, it's a geopolitical problem, okay? Number three, it's a spiritual problem because, Jesus came to put an end to the sacrificial system. And he said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but through me. And if you study what happened in the written accounts of the Gospels after Jesus literally commended his spirit into his Father's hands, the veil on the temple that kept everybody out was ripped in half from top to bottom, symbolizing open access to Almighty God, no longer the need for a systematic slaughter of animals I'll just say they don't need to be doing that stuff anymore. But so there's a problem on multiple levels with this thing that people think are getting excited about. I'm not excited about that kind of stuff, folks. I'm actually concerned about it because of the implications and the ramifications. But everybody thinks it's this big celestial event of spinning space balls that are going to cover each other up over Texas, right? And it's making an X over the United States, right? Well, X marks the spot. No, folks, listen to me. It's just another day, all right? The sun is going to set tonight. The 5G towers continue to be erected. The gun control legislation continues to be moved along. The evisceration of the purchasing power of the dollar continues to roll down the tracks. The brainwashing of your children is going to continue ad nauseum with your assistance. Tomorrow, things will get more expensive. Your purchasing power will decline. You'll be a day older. The days will be longer in the north because the sun is moving north on its circular trajectory on this plane. And you'll be continuously lied to about how horrible microplastics are and how wonderful plant-based meat is, right? Just another day, ladies and gentlemen. The first in line for the lake of fire are the cowards. The last in line are the liars, and everybody in between is going to be making up the vast majority. And you're not going to be one of those people, folks, because let me tell you something. He who has been born again by the Spirit of God through accepting the finished work of Jesus Christ on that cross, and that is belief in his physical death, his resurrection, and his atonement, full atonement for our sin. When you get to that point, folks, you realize that the record industry, the movie industry, the print houses, the magazines, the newspapers, the music videos, the textbooks, the medical school textbooks, the elementary school, the junior high, the high school textbooks, the junior college, the college textbooks, they're all written to brainwash you, to take you away from God, to make a mockery out of you, and to weaponize you, to use you and your children against us for the decimation of humanity and the impedance of the furtherance of the gospel in the kingdom of Jesus Christ. It's all a setup to screw us, folks. So don't be part of this system, okay? I have news for you, ladies and gentlemen. We already won this thing. That's why they have to, print money and enslave everybody out of and just try to totally control everything. They've got to print money and enslave everybody. So they can run the movie industries and the publishing houses and everything else, folks. And let me tell you something. I got news for you, folks. What we're working with is free and eternal and omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent and perfect, because God is on our side and we can't lose. Please don't fear today, folks. Enjoy the view. If you're over in that vicinity, watch the one disc slide over the other, will you, folks? This has been another broadcast of the Fullerton Informer, Joe Imbriano, PO Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834, coming to you in the name of Jesus Christ. Under the greater light right now, the sun, on the face of this plane, looking up at the firmament, holding waters above it, folks. Let's get really truthful here, folks, instead of a brainwashed imbecile, okay? Take care. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you when I return. In Jesus' name we go, folks. Take care.